Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. HTM here. A new teaser trailer was just released for next year's upcoming ESO expansion, and in this video I want to jump right into things, talking about what we know so far, as well as what we can expect from the Elder Scrolls Online in 2021. So let's get started. So the next ESO chapter is already off to a strong start in terms of marketing hype, with this brand new teaser trailer being released just a few days ago. Now, it is just a teaser, so we don't know a lot yet, but it does confirm some of my suspicions about the direction ESO will be going in 2021, just based on the brief cinematic we've seen so far. I'm not going to go over all my predictions here because I already did a fairly extensive video and breakdown of those, including some data mined content, which I don't want to rehash too much here. The link is in the description and the card on your screen right now. So from what we can tell, we are returning to the gates of Oblivion for ESO's next chapter, which does confirm my biggest assumption for next year. In case you're wondering what's so special about Oblivion, and particularly why this makes so much sense for ESO in 2021, all you have to do is rewind back to a few Elder Scrolls titles previous, and you'll find the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, which was originally released back in 2006. Believe it or not, this was right around when ESO started its own development, which was in 2007. So there are some major influences and parallels between ES4 and ESO already. I think more importantly, 2021 will also mark the 15-year anniversary of the release of Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. And we know that ZeniMax Online Studios absolutely loves any opportunity for nostalgia or a hype train, basically any chance they can get to return players back to those earlier Elder Scrolls adventures and titles. They really want to take advantage because it works for them. I mean, we saw huge influxes of new players into ESO with releases like the Morrowind expansion for ESO, as well as the Skyrim chapter this past year. So it just makes sense for them to ride this wave of Oblivion nostalgia as much as possible right now, and there's no shame in that. It is good business for them and good marketing. And I will say the reconstruction of Skyrim in particular this year was really high quality in my opinion when it came to matching the look and the feel of the original game. So I'm fairly confident they'll do just as well here when it comes to Oblivion in 2021. Now let's talk more about the zone location for next year, as I think this is where I want to change my predictions up just slightly. In my previous video talking about 2021, my guess was that the featured zone would be certain unexplored parts of Cyrodiil. This mainly has to do with the end of the Markarth DLC and how Lyris mentions parts of Cyrodiil in her dialogue there, specifically Skingrad. Skingrad is located on the western side of Cyrodiil beyond, our current PvP campaign zone, which does make it a possible new zone. So I think we will most likely start there. You can actually see a lot of this in the teaser trailer, which I'd assume is actually showing us the initial zones we'll have access to. And based on the layout of everything here, specifically this town in the back, this is likely Skingrad. The architectural kind of styles and structure matches up with what we would expect to see in that town. Then you also have the river below, which matches the river that leads up to Skingrad. So I think that does confirm it. However, with this teaser trailer, I feel like Skingrad won't necessarily be the main focus of the chapter. I'm actually pretty excited about this, and here's why. First of all, we have another returning character other than Lyris for once, which I actually like this. I mean, the companions are great. They're cool and all, I get it, but it's nice to see someone different in the trailer for once. Let's give some other characters a chance to shine here, right? So rather than Sai or Lyris, we do have another returning character, Aveli Sharp Arrow. She's a wood elf who was actually back in the Hrothgar DLC. She made an appearance, so not a brand new character necessarily, but definitely a different character with a different story arc than I was expecting, which is a nice surprise. I like this. So the fact that we may be less focused on Lyris and her crew makes me think we may see less of Lyris and of Cyrodiil in particular, or if Cyrodiil does still play a part here, maybe it's just a smaller part sort of at the beginning of the chapter. It's not going to be the entire focus. What makes me think we'll see less Cyrodiil next year as well is the way this entire teaser trailer is constructed. including the name. I mean, the Gates of Oblivion. That has some pretty strong meaning attached to it. Obviously, that means the Daedric realms of Oblivion will play a major role in the Elder Scrolls Online in 2021. We do have some previous indications of this, which I mentioned in my last video on the topic, specifically a leaked chapter title that was briefly on the PTS called Deadlands. That was the actual name in the purchase menu for chapters that we saw. It was only up for a couple of days and then it was removed. But this trailer that we're seeing now just confirms that. I mean, look at this fiery Daedric realm kind of landscape that features for most of the trailer's runtime. If anything, I would say this looks exactly like the Deadlands featured in the Elder Scrolls 4. You can just compare these towers. For example, here's the one from the trailer. Here's a similar tower back in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Looks very similar to me. And I think this is exciting more so than just an extension of Cyrodiil, because what I think we could be talking about here is the Deadlands as a playable realm of Oblivion, similar to how we have Cold Harbor already in ESO as a playable area. I mean, why focus so much on the visuals of the Deadlands in this trailer, showing how huge it is, featuring it, if it's not going to be a playable area, right? Of course, we also have the big reveal of Mehrunes Dagon, which solidifies the theory even further. So, more playable realms of Oblivion, possibly including the Deadlands as a complete zone for exploring. I think that's more likely now than ever. All right, so we talked about the possible zones and locations. Let's talk about new game features next. So typically with a new chapter release, we do get some type of new big additional features added to the game other than just a new zone. In the past, we've had things like new skill lines, new crafting skills, totally new systems like antiquities, and of course, brand new classes. So which of those makes the most sense in 2021? Well, just starting with some simple options in terms of progression, as well as what we know has been confirmed already by the developers at ZeniMax, we know there will be some additions to the game's most popular features, including housing and antiquities. For example, ZOS just recently began rolling out housing NPCs and NPC pathways, and they've described the new pathing feature specifically as laying the groundwork for more systems to be added into housing in the future. So I think that's a sure bet for next year. As I mentioned, also antiquities has been very popular. The developers like it a lot, and so I would expect to see that added to as well with, more furnishings, more mythic items added to the game through antiquities. Now, in terms of systems and balance, we know based on previous comments from Rich that a rework of the champion point system is actually being finalized and is quote-unquote coming soon. I believe he mentioned they were close to finished with this, so I think seeing that champion point rework in either Q1 or the Q2 chapter release is very likely, in my opinion. They may even save that CP rework for the chapter, kind of like how they saved the vampire and werewolf updates for the Greymoor chapter. You don't have to buy the chapter for those updates because they're base game features, but it just makes the overall value of the chapter expansion seem like more, basically. Now, personally, I've been looking forward to a champion point system rework for years, as I know many other veteran players have. So I hope it's great. I hope that whatever they've come up with actually helps create new builds and play styles, rather than just more passive stat boosts, which is boring. But of course, none of these updates are that major. So that really leaves us with room for something big in 2021, something that's going to make this chapter stand out. Now, there are three possibilities, in my opinion, that being a new system, a new skill line, or a new class. So let's talk about each of those next. First, talking about a new system. The obvious choice for this, I think, would be something like spellcrafting, which we've heard rumors of for years. Now, this does have a connection with Oblivion, since spellcrafting was a part of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion release. So it could fit in well this next year for sure, but I think the general concept of spellcrafting it doesn't work as well in a game like ESO. Strictly from a balance standpoint, this being an MMO, I think it would be very hard to balance a system like spellcrafting without making it either too powerful or just useless. I know it's something that everybody wants, even the developers talked about they wanted it originally, and I would love to see it, but I just don't think it's very likely, at least not this coming year. So what about a new class in 2021? Well, that's definitely possible as well. For one thing, we know that ZOS has spent about 2 years on developing each of the new classes that were introduced in ESO post-launch, that being the Warden and the Necromancer, and it has been 2 years since the Necromancer class was released, but to be clear, they've never stated that it's their goal to release a new class every 2 years. That's just how it worked out. And I think in the grand scheme of things, a 7th class is just too much for them to balance and add to the game at this point. Pretty similar to how spellcrafting would be a lot to balance now as well. Keep in mind that ZOS does have a whole balance team and they've spent, a year or more working very hard on balancing all the classes against each other, all skills, buffs, abilities across the board to make everything as balanced, as fine-tuned as possible. And at this point, to drop in a brand new class into that mix, it seems a little counterproductive to me. So a new class, maybe. I'd like to see it, obviously, but I think the chances are a little bit low. So all that really leaves us with is some type of new skill lines, which I think this is the best bet for 2021. What I think is most likely, if this is the route that they go, is some type of new Magicka-based weapon skill line, because we have lots of stamina-based skill lines already. A pretty popular choice is the One Hand and Rune skill line, which we've seen in other Elder Scrolls titles. There's also plenty of concept art that already uses this idea as well. So I think that's a pretty strong bet for a fun skill line that could really sell this chapter release. Another possibility, since we're talking about Oblivion and previous Elder Scrolls titles, would be more Magicka-based staff skill lines, including Conjuration, Illusion, Mysticism. These are all types of spells available in Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and there is a Mages Guild in Skingrad, so it could definitely be possible. So regardless, I'm definitely looking forward to what's in store for the Elder Scrolls Online in 2021. I'd also love to see your feedback, ideas, and suggestions down in the comment section below. So let us know what you think about the Gates of Oblivion chapter, as well as any new features you'd like to see. As always, if you enjoyed the video today, don't forget to crush that like button. Make sure you subscribe right here for more ESO content. Thanks again for watching. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe out there, and I will see you around in the next video.